Hey, what is it, guys? So I got back into Infernoid again. This was one of my more favorite decks that I used to play. Shout outs to Mick if you ever get to see this video. But I've been playing this deck ever since it first came out. And absolutely haggering Ritual Beast back in the day, and then it kind of sat on my shelf for a while. And then dropped. But moving on from that, my love for it kind of did come back because it is still one of those fun decks where it's the case of you get rewarded for knowing how to play the deck. Fair enough, like you do end up in some positions where it's just a case of just like you're playing tier 3, so you're just going to lose and you just have to accept that. But it's still very good at what it needs to do, and what it does is tributing your opponent's field constantly, and that's how we break their board. So it's very weird like that. Yeah, very weird like that. But anyways, into the deck we go. So we played the 3 Decatron, and for those of you that don't know Infernoid that well, I'll go through all the effects, even Infernoid has been out for a while. And the chances are, because you've stumbled across this video, you know some of the effects of Infernoids anyways. So Decatron has the effect of copying Infernoid's effects by sending it from deck to grave. So it's free Foolish Burial, and it means that you get a free Infernoid for later on. 9 times out of 10 I'm sending Deviati, because I want the monster negated. It doesn't just negate, it negates and banishes. Then we have the 2 Deviati and the 1 Anunku. The reason why we play this sort of ratio is back row removal isn't required as much, because most of the time whenever you try and do back row removal, they have something like a Lord of the Heavenly Prison, they have a Hugin, something, doesn't really matter. However, the Deviati does the monster removal, and the great thing about this is it can output a load of damage very quickly. So if you summon the Deviati, sometimes just smacking your opponent repeatedly with it makes you win. Anunku does the same, but for back row, but it's not as good. So yeah. Then we have the 2 Cytimus. The reason why we don't play 3 is because the 3 just don't. You can summon it off Void Feast, or you can just use Decatron copy its effect. Because the great thing about it is Cytimus banishes cards from the field, so if you use Decatron copy its ability and ram into one of your opponent's defense position monsters, then time to start banishing your card, my friend. The one suggest you have to play this because Void Feast. Void Feast says that you have to summon Infernoids that add up to level 6, so it's this plus 2 Decatron, so then you end up with a spell trap and monster negate and banish, so it's good like that. Then we play the 3 Lilith. This just gives you access to all of your traps. Also, it's the fact that it's just free tributing. Like the weird thing with this version is because this is just Leonnoid. For those of you that have not played Leonnoid before, it basically runs off a card called Lair of Darkness that says if you're going to tribute something that's costs, you get to tribute your opponent's stuff. So basically, all the Infernoids tribute as costs. So Lair just keeps them spot removal in their field. Fair enough, you can only tribute one of theirs per turn because of Lair, but it's just that's all you kind of need sometimes. Then we play the 3 Cypher and Gamma. The thing is, because it all tributes for cost, you end up with no monsters on the field very, very easily. You can end up extrapping Void Imagination, loads of stuff that just will trigger hand traps, and then you just get the free Gamma, and because we play the Omega, you get the free Omega. That's it. Then we play 2 Lair of Darkness. We don't play 3 because 3 is a break, and the fact is that you can survive without Lair being up on the field. Fair enough, you would prefer to kind of have it on board so you get access to it a lot quicker, but it doesn't do as much when you have multiples of it. You just need one on the field, and 9 times out of 10 your opponent doesn't opt to get rid of it as quickly because they just don't see it as a problem card. But it's one of those cards where if you see it, you add it very quickly, because if not, I'm just going to start picking it apart the board. Then we play the 3 Extravagance, free draw power. You don't care about your extra deck, you play so many multiples in your extra deck that it literally doesn't matter. Then we play the 1 Void Imagination. It's a weird-ish card to play. So Imagination summons a token, so it means that you don't have to banish your Infernoids in the grave. And your opponent can't target the weakest Infernoid on the field, they have to target the strongest one. So basically, if you have a Deviati and a Decatron up, your opponent has to get rid of the Deviati to be able to do anything to the Decatron. It doesn't come up as often, but it's still one of those cards where it's good when you draw it, and when you don't need it. It's also free discard fodder. It's also free discard fodder when you need to do this insertion. Then we play. How do we describe it? Shaddoll Fusion on steroids. So basically, this is your fusion spell. It also reduces every Infernoid monster's level to 1. Does not matter about that. That effect is completely irrelevant. The effect that we actually care about is if your opponent controls a monster that was summoned from the extra deck, you can fusion summon an Infernoid by sending 6 of the materials from your deck. It's the only bit we care about, because that is how we are summoning Tierra. And that's how we kill our opponent later on in the game. Then we play the 3 Void Banishment. Its effect to banish stuff. It does come up. Very rarely, but it does come up. We mainly use it for we discard to add a Void spell trap, which is usually Void Feast, because Void Feast has to send an Infernoid spell trap to summon, so we use this to set Feast, and it's fine from that. We play 1 Zombie World. This doesn't come up as often, but it's one of those cards where, because we play Metaverse in the main, because we need access to the field spell really, really quickly, this card does sometimes come up. I have used it against Flunder on a few occasions. It has come up against some of the rogue matchups. However, I don't think I'll be playing this card moving forward. It was just more of a remnants from my pathological fears of Flunder and constantly walking into Salamangre and other decks. So, yeah. Then we play the 3 Dogmatic Punishment. I might cut down this to 2 again. It helps when it does because you want to draw it in your main. However, because punishment is once per turn, it kind of does hurt after a while. It's alright at 3 because of the trap trick, but if we draw multiples of it, it's kind of dead on arrival. Then we play the 3 Metaverse. This, unfortunately, is sad because we don't have Mystic Mine anymore, so it doesn't work as good as it used to. But the ability to be able to just access Lair from your deck at any point is actually very good, because your opponent just starts playing normally with you having a Decatron on the field, and then you activate this, activate Lair of Darkness, and then just start tributing away all of their monsters, and then you win from that. Hopefully, can't really say if it happens all the time, but it kind of sometimes does. 2 Trap Trick. It gives you access to basically its additional copies of Dogmatic Punishment, Metaverse, as well as Void Imagination. It was a lot more better when mine was at 3, but oh well, will survive. And then 3 Void Feast. This is the one where you search this off Void Banishment instantly, because you want to be able to get to your Decatron as well as your Cytonus very quickly, because 3 negates are 3 negates, and it doesn't just negate, it banishes and stuff. Now, fair enough, against Cash, it's kind of bad banishing it as well, but you really do need this card, because if you don't, you're just dead on arrival, because you won't fill up your grave as quick, because the other Void cards from back in the day were absolutely terrible and took like years for them to work properly. And that's the main deck for it. Then the extra deck is kind of a bit. For the side deck, it's kind of a bit standard. We're playing the 3 evenly matched, 3D Barrier, 3 Twin Twister, 3 Golem, and 3 Fenrir. I haven't put as much effort into the side as much because this deck kind of goes first and second. The reason why it can go second is because if you open up the so even if you get cash locked, as long as they haven't locked you out of every zone, you can still kind of claw your way back with just by setting a couple of back row or just normal summoning a Decatron stuff. So you're not as worried. Obviously, the barrier just stops everything, evenly, just a board breaker. And these 2 are great because you can avoid just not normal summoning in the deck. I was contemplating like cutting down a lot of the back row and just playing full balls to the wall version of this, which I will create that deck list a bit later on and play out in a few weeks. However, that one is literally the glass cannon version of this, or you have to just kill your opponent because you run out of resources very quickly. And unfortunately, because a Rise of Heart exists, that version isn't as good because your opponent summons a Rise of Heart, and you have just banished 6 of your Infernoids for nothing. Anyways, on to the extra deck. We play the 3 Natis because free popping is free popping. You summon Tierra, and then Tierra sends 3 Natis. Pretty much it. And then you get 3 pops. Usually it's 2 of your opponents, and then 1 is to pop your own Tierra. So then you just have free stuff from that. We play the 3 Tierra because it's just another name. Worst comes to worst, you use Tierra to send Tierra, and then you have more Infernoid names in your graveyard. 1 side from Lord of Mago because we make it off the Gamma, and also Tierra can send his grave, so then we can just mess up our opponent's grave. It rarely comes up for that, but sometimes it does. Sometimes it does. The 1 Akashic Magician, rarely summoned this actually. It's there because you can do it, but I don't believe that I'll be using it as often because it just rarely ever comes up. Your opponent actually has to play into the action for it to do something. Then we play the 2 Aquamax. This is how you actually win. So what you do is use this plus heater. So you make the two. So you link the 2 off to make a heater. Hopefully your opponent has Ash Blossomed you at some point in the game. Heater then brings back the Ash Blossom. You make the Aquamax. Then you banish 3 Infernoids to summon. Well, you banish 2 Infernoids because you have to do the 2-way first. So you have to banish 2 Infernoids to summon Saitama and 3 Infernoids to summon Deviati. Deviati blows up your opponent's back row, and then Aquamax is very, very big. The Aquamax runs into your opponent's monster, and then you use Saitama's effect to tribute the Aquamax, so then Deviati and Saitamas can attack. Because the monsters that Aquamax points to can't attack, but if we tribute it as cost and get rid of it off the field, they can attack. Yeah, I know it kind of runs off the fact that your opponent has to have a fire in the grave, however, I'm willing to take that chance. And we play the heater for obviously the combo that I just explained. We play the 1 Cerberus because it's better than Unicorn because you're kind of a bit more reliant on your resources and you don't want to burn through them too quickly, so we have to play the 1 Cerberus. Then we play the 1 Phoenix, back row removal, and we play the Lingering Bow because it's a quick way to get rid of. It's a quick way to get rid of the Decatron. I was thinking of playing Talon Great Mirage because it guarantees that it gets sent to the grave. However, anytime that I do want Decatron to go to the grave, it's because it's still level 1 and it's not being used for anything because it's just basically been impermed or something and it's turned into a vanilla. But I will be looking into trying rebuilding the other version of Infernoid that I have. However, it's not as good in this format. I believe that this one's actually the better of the 2. Maybe next week or the next few weeks I'll probably rebuild the other version and then post it up. But until then, thanks guys for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe as always. I do love hearing how you want my decks to be changed because I don't highlight everything under the sun. So I'll be signing out now. Peace.